Welcome to one of the most exciting lessons of this class, because we are going to talk about Rollups here. What is it for and how you can use it? In the practical part, we will add several Rollup columns to our databases in order to see some basic statistics and add support for non-7 days habits. Rollup property type. Rollup is one of the advanced property types. To explain the possibilities of Rollup column, I will use this example with video products produced for different clients. We may think of a Rollup column as of a relation property enhancer. Rollup column cannot work by itself. It always needs a relation column to work on base of it. And while the relation column connects the whole rows to each other, Rollup allows you to get a peek at a particular cell of the connected records. So, Rollup column is kind of a spy column, which tells you about the changes in connected cells in real time. To configure Rollup column, you have to set a relation column to be used as the base and tell which exact property of related records you want to show. Actually, you might want to not just show them, but to do some calculations based on them. In this example with projects and clients, I will configure Rollup to show the income for all the projects done for a particular client. The Rollup cells only show the numbers from related records. If I delete a record from the relations list, it will immediately affect the output of Rollup column. An important thing to know is that you cannot edit any data in Rollup cells. Rollup only shows you the value stored in another database, or the calculation done based on that value. The value itself may only be changed in the source. And once I change income amount in video projects database, the changes are immediately propagated to the Rollup cells in the client's database. Okay, let's add some Rollup magic to the habits database. Every habit has a bunch of related trackers. Every tracker has a progress defined as percentage of checked checkboxes. Rollups will help us to calculate minimum, maximum and average value based on all the trackers related to every particular habit. Let's start from average. Add a new Rollup column and configure it to use trackers relation as base, percentage value as property and average calculation mode. Done. Easy, right? Now let's do the same thing to min and max values. Cool, now we can see these basic stats for every habit. Good enough. But you already know how to create progress bars. Why not to add some? I recommend you to pause the lesson and try to add the next columns by yourself first, and then return to the lesson. Ready to check yourself? Okay, let's start from the progress bar for average. Actually, I'm going to copy the formula I've done for trackers and replace the percent column name. Quick and easy. This technique saves a lot of time. It's good to have a library of formulas you like and use often, to not write them from scratch every single time. The only thing I have to add here is rounding the percent number. In Trackers database, percent number is rounded by the percent done formula. However, I don't have a way to make Notion to round a percent which it calculates for me in the Rollup columns. So I will add the round function to the progress bar formula. We will do the same way with min and max progresses. Okay, it looks better now. Actually, we may even hide the properties with initial percent numbers, as progress bars look better. It is possible to show previously hidden properties via database menu. I will hide the trackers links as well. You can also hide stats percents in a habit page and rearrange the properties in the way it looks most attractive and readable. Notion still knows the hidden properties are in place, just hides them from you, and actually you can still access them anytime you need. These adjustments affect all the pages in this database, so if you open another record, you will see the same properties hidden, and the order of visible properties will be the same for all the pages. But it doesn't affect the view configuration of the database itself. I mean here on the high level. Let's add a progress bar column for average progress of all the related trackers for the Wix database. Now we can see the average progress for all the habits within every particular week time frame. Rollup properties work in two directions. As long as we have rollups based on connected trackers data in the habit database, we can have rollups based on connected habits in the trackers database. Let's use this possibility to make the system a little bit more flexible and support non-7 days habits. Currently, the progress of every particular tracker is calculated in % done formula. This formula uses hard-coded value of 7 days to assess the progress. Obviously, some habits are supposed to be less intense, so it would be nice to set a different weekly goal value for non-7 days habits. If we lived in the world without Notion rollups, we would have to add a column goal to trackers database and fill it manually for every single tracker. But with Rollup, we can set this value once for every habit and then get the value of corresponding habit in trackers database. So let's add a goal property of number type to habits database and add a corresponding rollup to the trackers. I will fill this property for some habits. And now we have to update the % done formula so that it uses goal value instead of 7 if it is not empty. Let's take a closer look to this new if statement. First of all, empty function is new for us. This function is pretty easy. You place link to any existing database property inside of the parentheses, and the function returns either false if the property has some content or true if not. If you add not operator to empty function, then result is the opposite. True for the case when the property has some content and false if not. You can think of this as of the question, is this property not empty? Or does this property has content? In the context of our if statement, the answer to this question leads us to either yes block or no block. Notion eventually replaces the whole if statement with the value of goal property, or 7, depending on the answer. Note that I use min rollup mode. Why? Because I want Notion to think of this column as of number type. In show original mode, which is set for rollup columns by default, Notion implicitly thinks that rollup contains textual value. Because if there is more than one connection, all the values will be listed, being separated by comma. In this system, one tracker is supposed to always be connected to only one habit, but Notion has no idea about this. Min mode makes Notion show only one value, the minimum one, and Notion knows for sure it's numeric. That's why I can use it as a number in any formula. And I know for sure that this min value will always be chosen from just one candidate of this single connected habit. So this mode serves perfectly here. Actually, max and average would serve just the same way in this case. By the way, these modes are only available for numeric columns. So if I create a rollup for another habit database column, let's say habit name, I will no longer have this min mode available. So Notion wants to be pretty sure about column types and tries to restrict you whenever it's possible. The final adjustment should be done for progress bar, as now we can face the case with more than 100% progress for a tracker. An easy way is to change equal operator to higher or equal operator. Or you could emphasize this big success with another emoji. Like a star, for instance. And same change should be applied to all the progress bars in the system. Okay, we are done with Rollup basics. Now you know how to add simple calculations over several records. And your project gives you some statistics about the habits you track. Now the project supports non-7 days habits, and you can set custom weekly goal for every particular habit. In the next lesson, we will get familiar with date property and add some more updates to weeks database. Okay, see you there!